So now I'm looking at questions 8.3 and 8.4. Select the conjugate acid-base pairs for each reaction in questions 8.1 and 8.2. So I'd like to take a quick look here. Slide this down a little bit. So what they're telling us, I'm trying to make it so that the glare's not there, is that a conjugate acid is the species that's formed when the base accepts the proton. So here's a base, and that base accepted a proton, and so now that base is a conjugate acid. He's an acid because he can donate that proton, and acids are proton donors. And then a conjugate base is the species formed when an acid donates a proton. So here's an acid donating a proton just like acids do, and now she is a conjugate base. She's a base because she can now accept a proton. So I always thought this was a little bit confusing, but you got to remember what started out as the acid turns into the base. What starts out as the base turns into the acid. And then these two are the conjugate acid-base pairs, and so are these two. It's a little bit like Jekyll turns into Hyde, Jekyll turns into Hyde. They're the same person, they've just got a little differences. So I don't have to turn the page. So we are looking here, or maybe we do need to turn the page. Okay, so they asked us select the conjugate acid-base pairs for each reaction in question 8.1. So I am going to say that this acid, HF, turned into this conjugate base. So I'm going to say this was an acid, and now she is a conjugate base. And then I'm going to say that this, I don't know if you guys talk about that actually or not. I think that we can go ahead and claim it though. You do talk about water being amniprotic. Okay, so this, because she's the acid, he's got to be the base, and he turned into a conjugate acid. So base turned into a conjugate acid. I'm not going to have quite the room to do that for the rest of them. Okay, so here we've got, here we had hydrogen giving something away, or I mean we had a species giving away a hydrogen, so that was our acid. Here we've got something giving away a hydrogen, so that was our acid, which means that this is our base. And so this base turns into a conjugate acid. This acid that gave away a hydrogen turns into a conjugate base. Oh, it just so happens. Well, it doesn't fall into line completely, so let me go ahead and write it. So we've got acid turning into a conjugate base, and then we've got a base turning into a conjugate acid. And if this video gets too long, I won't be able to upload it, so I'm going to stop here, and for the next one, we'll do 8.2.